Hello everyone, this is my third attempt at trying to make this video and I've tried different tactics and none of them seem to work. So I'm gonna try this and let's see if this sticks. The audio might be a little bit weird. It's because I have my fan on. It is like 90-something degrees and I'm wearing all black, as you do. Alright, so things have been going on in this world. It's not pleasant, but I feel like it's relevant and it needs to be done and needs to be happening. It's been going on for a couple of weeks, but it seems like the hype has kind of dived down when I feel like it shouldn't, because this isn't really solved. I've tried different ways of making this video. None of them just was what I was feeling. And if you know anything about me, I learned through storytelling and watching films and theater and TV shows. So that's how I'm gonna approach this one today. So I've got a list here of some movies, TV shows, of things about the Black Lives Matter movement. So these films aren't necessarily just starring people of color or black actors and actresses, but this is more about their story and not just, oh, a person of color. Although some of them are, I think. Well, at least one. But that was just because I needed something lighthearted because stuff got heavy. These movies and TV shows I've seen over the past couple of weeks, and some came to my mind as I was trying to compile this list, and hopefully I can recommend you some good stuff to get educated and dive more into stories if that's how you learn. One of the first things that came up was a Netflix series called Dear White People, which is actually based on an indie film of the same name. I haven't seen the film, but I started watching the TV show. I am finished with season 2, so I'm about to start season 3. And it's pretty relevant. A lot of those things are happening today. It's about a group of college students who attend an elite Ivy League school and being kind of self-segregated because they're not fully accepted for their color. And racism is very prominent in this series and they talk a lot about it. The main character's name is Samantha White, or Sam, and she hosts this podcast called Dear White People. It's a very interesting series. There are some moments where I was appalled at what I was looking at. There's some little humor moments. I saw The Hate U Give in theaters when it was released, and that was something else. The film is based off of a book by Angie Thomas. I haven't read the book, but I did see the film, and it has stuck with me ever since I saw it in theaters. It's very well done. All the actors are fantastic. The storytelling really dives into the experience on both sides, and it leaves you thinking and questioning and demanding change. One of the scariest movies I've ever seen is Get Out. I feel like it's kind of relevant right now, considering that if you've seen Get Out, you know what I'm talking about. It's about an African-American guy who's dating a white girl, and he goes to meet her family, and it gets a little bit twisted. I don't want to spoil anything if you're not into spoilers, but there are some things that are illegal. Definitely a thriller, psychological thriller at some points, and it gets you. It's one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. I'm not a big horror thriller person, so for me, watching this gave me nightmares for a while. I've heard that Black Panther is also a good one to watch right now, and I think so. If that's the kind of movie you're into, you like action superhero Marvel films, watch Black Panther. It's interesting watching it as an American and seeing the protagonist and the antagonist go at it. You kind of feel for both, which gives you that inward conflict, but it's fantastic. It's amazing, and it doesn't stereotype anyone, which is great. I saw this film a few years ago in theaters. It's called Lee Daniels the Butler, starring Forrest Whitaker. I'm not sure if many people have heard of it, but this movie did come back to mind when this whole thing was happening. And I was like, whoa, remember this film? That was something else. It's about one of the butlers who serves in the White House, and you see him serving through all these different presidents, the presidencies, and how he influenced a lot of the decisions. It's really interesting. If you're into history films, Lee Daniels, The Butler. Check it out. I realized that I hadn't fully seen The Princess and the Frog until like last week. I've heard the songs and I've seen some clips on YouTube, but I haven't really sat down and watched the whole film all the way through until last week, so fake fan. I think right now it's one of those good uplifting ones that are still part of this story. It's relevant right now. This was another one that I started watching because I needed something lighthearted. It's this TV show called Marlon with Marlon Wayans. I believe there are only 2 seasons because those were the only things that showed up on Netflix. It's good quality humor. It's fun sometimes. It hits some things, but it doesn't take it too deep or too seriously. It goes deep, but it doesn't go like too far where it's like, okay, serious moment. But it doesn't take those things too lightly either. The Color of Friendship. I'm surprised at how deep this film goes for being a Disney Channel original movie from like the 90s, but for it being geared towards children and young people. It goes into the political, it goes into like the relationships, it goes into deeply how racism is taught when you're growing up in different places, having different skin tones. Last night I saw a Netflix film, but it's not really a Netflix film. It was originally a Broadway play turned film, and I get kind of skeptical when I watch plays turned films because sometimes it just doesn't sit well with me, the transition. This one I actually enjoyed. It's called American Son. It stars Kerry Washington and Stephen Pasquale and Jeremy Jordan, all of whom were in the original Broadway cast, as well as Eugene Lee. The director of the play also directed the film, and the playwright I believe also did the screenplay, which I'm pretty sure was just the same thing, just turned to film. It is about an interracial couple who reports their missing son, their missing teenage son, in a Miami police station. Miami? I think it's Miami. It's very interesting to see a different side of a story that we're all pretty familiar with. Hearing the different dialogue that they say and just the way that they experience it all. I actually did a review on this movie on my IGTV, so go check that out if you want to see my full review from last night. Speaking of plays turned film, Fences, Denzel Washington, Viola Davis, fantastic. They both won the Tony for it. I'm pretty sure someone won the Oscar as well. So it was Viola. Viola won the Oscar for it. Of course, genius. So those are just the ones that I've seen personally, and I intend to see more. I have a list of more things that my friends have told me about and that I've heard great things about. 13th is the first one on my list that I need to watch next because literally everyone is talking about it. A few more are If Beale Street Could Talk, Moonlight, Just Mercy, She's Gotta Have It, Selma, Malcolm X, and When They See Us. So if you guys have seen any of these movies or TV shows or any plays, let me know your thoughts and suggestions and recommendations in the comments below. All Black Lives Matter, always and forever. And this is not going to stop until we get this justified. Things are changing after this pandemic, folks. The world isn't going to be the same, and clearly it's not waiting for this pandemic to be over to start the change. A few things: make sure you do your research, get educated, sign petitions, carefully if you can go to protests, speak up about these things, keep sharing, keep posting, but also do your part. And if you can, if you haven't already, please register to vote. Do your research on what you should vote for and when it is your time to vote in the US. One thing I forgot to mention is that you can also donate to organizations to help fund the Black Lives Matter movement, because these stories, these movies, these TV shows, these works of art don't really do anything unless it promotes change and helps you get a different perspective. I will do my best to look for some more resources and leave them in the description bar for you as well. Thank you for hanging out with me today, everyone. I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.